Biden has said that. He's on tape. Dan, he's not on tape. Don't listen to me. So some of you saw the interview this weekend President Trump did with Chris Wallace over at Fox News. How did you know that? How did you know it was a blue screen of doom? You can see that? She can see the blue screen of doom now in the reflection. I mean, it happens sometimes on a teleprompter. We hit the wrong button. So he interviewed with Chris Wallace, and man, this was a fiery one. And there was a couple of moments, two of them specifically I wanted to point out, but one of them that seems to be getting the most attention this weekend interview. Let's get right to it. This is it. This is President Trump and Chris Wallace going back and forth on liberal cities and Joe Biden's support for defunding the police. Or did Biden say that? Well, we'll go to the videotape afterwards, but check this out.
You've seen deaths up in New York, deaths up in Chicago, shootings. How do you explain it, and what are you going to do about it?
I explain it very simply by saying they're Democrat-run cities. They're liberally run. They're stupidly run.
Liberal Democrats have been running cities in this country for decades.
Poorly.
Why is it so bad right now?
They've run them poorly. It was always bad, but now it's gotten totally out of control. And it's really because they want to defund the police. And Biden wants to defund the police.
Sir, he does not.
Look, he signed a charter with Bernie Sanders.
It says nothing about defunding the police.
Oh, really? It says abolish. It says defund. Let's go.
All right.
Get me the charter, please.
All right.
Okay, that one got a lot of attention. That was all over Twitter this weekend. Came out of church, relaxing on a Sunday, was bouncing around looking for some stuff for the show, and that one seems to be everywhere. They're like, oh my gosh, Chris Wallace fact-checked him and got him. Again, this is one of those, are we sure about that? Let me bring up 2 points in the interview. Wallace brings up one point when Trump says, Chris Wallace asked him about the growing violence in liberal-run cities. Trump says, well, they're being run by Democrats and liberals, and basically, Trump to summarize what he's saying is that these liberal policies have led to the destruction of these areas, which is absolutely correct, by the way. And, Wallace seems to have an issue with that. And he says, well, this violence is only recent. And I'm thinking, Chris, again, with all due respect to Chris, have you been following the decline of liberal run cities over the last 60 plus years? Ladies and gentlemen, on this show, I got a nice compliment this weekend from a family member who I honestly did not know watches my show. And said she did, which I found astounding because it's not my target audience, if you know what I mean. We're more politically involved here. I was shocked. And I think one of the reasons the family member found the show interesting, to my surprise, is we do actual facts I believe people haven't heard before. So I believe Wallace's assertion that somehow this violence or whatever is some kind of a new phenomenon is totally and completely inaccurate. Number one, the crime rates in Baltimore City have been going up for a long time and have been elevated above the national average for decades now. Coincidentally, the one place where crime rates have gone down in a big city was because liberals were pushed out of office, David Dinkins, Mayor Koch, Shea Beam, and others. What am I talking about? New York City. Giuliani comes in, and then Bloomberg, who is a big government nanny stater in many respects, but was very good with the NYPD. Didn't change a lot. Listen, folks, we have to do facts here. I wouldn't touch Bloomberg politically with a 35-foot pole. But with the NYPD, he was not that bad. He pretty much continued a lot of the Giuliani policies. And what happened? Crime went down. Where liberals have been in charge monopolistically with no breaks and no sound Republican conservative leadership, Baltimore, St. Louis, other big cities, you've seen a steady decline, it may be in crime, but crime rate's still way above the national average. That is entirely inaccurate. This is not new. Secondly, the economies of these big cities run by liberals are a total mess. They're basket case economies. Baltimore, the reason I use Baltimore, one is because Joe is there, and I ran in Maryland twice. I'm intimately familiar with the politics of Baltimore. I've done a ton of events there, a lot, in Baltimore County and Baltimore City. They're two separate places. Baltimore City is typically what people are talking about because that's been run monopolistically by Democrats. Baltimore City, ladies and gentlemen, in the 1950s, you know what was the sixth largest city in America? They have had a hemorrhaging of population for decades. Did you know Baltimore City also had a median income back in the 50s above the national average? Do you know what it is now? 23 to 25% below the national average, meaning nobody's making money there. So I'm not sure what Wallace is talking about on that. This violence is not new there. There you go. I forgot I sent you that. Here, Baltimore Business Journal, for those of you watching on the YouTube. We always like to cite our sources. Now, this piece is from a while ago. It's from 2011, but it's gotten worse since then. That's the irony of this. Maryland median household income's number 1 in the U.S. Baltimore is below average. So you can't even blame it on Maryland. You're like, oh, Baltimore, Baltimore City's in Maryland. It's Maryland's fault. No, they're number 1. No, that's not Maryland's fault. They were number 1 back then. I'm not sure where they are now. I mean, Trump's point, again, was accurate. That these cities have been run into the ground by liberals for decades. That is an accurate point. I don't understand what he's fighting there. His second point he tries to make here, Wallace, is that Biden has not said he was going to defund the police. Now, the charter is murky on that they refer to. If you go back and listen to the piece, Trump says it's in this charter. To be fair, that's murky. There's no real mention I saw of taking money away from the police. I don't need that, though. I only need to listen to Biden. Joe, just to be clear, if you want to know if Biden wants to defund the police, you should probably go, where would you go first, Joe? Maybe Biden? Just throwing that out there.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, yeah.
Thank you.
Good possibility.
He's up in the air on that, but maybe you'd go to Biden's own words first. Again, folks, we just do facts here, okay? If you want to know where Biden stands on, you know what? I can't even, because me and Paula this morning are like, some liberal will watch this, and this is where, you understand we're living in an Orwellian newspeak nightmare, where liberals just redefine words for political convenience. You get that, right? Joe, what does the word defund mean to you? Don't give us, I'm dead serious. I don't want a fancy dictionary to say a regular, normal, everyday, you are the everyday working man. If someone said to you, Joe, I am going to, Joe, you work with me, but with me, correct? If I said, Joe, I am going to defund you on some of your invoices, what would that mean to you?
Well, the prefix D means undo it, take it away, get rid of it, defund it, take that out, forget it. Forget about it.
There's Joe. Listen, this is not Roger's thesaurus. Joe, we're not Merriam-Webster. I'm just asking Joe a common sense question. Like if I'm going to ask you, the normal person, say, hey, we're going to defund you and your salary and your budget. Joe saying, D, meaning take away, undo, lower. Okay, right? But words don't mean that anymore. Why? Because Biden has said that. He's on tape. Dan, he's not on tape. Don't listen to me. Listen to Biden in his own interview when he's asked directly, are you going to redirect some of the funds? Redirect, meaning not direct. Direct to the police. Redirect not to the police. Police, no police. Police, no police. We're just using plain English here, folks. Here's Biden's answer.
The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people. So my generic point is that...
Do we agree that we can redirect some of the funding?
Yes, absolutely.
You just heard Dan Bongino.